Hey guys, King Racer here. In the past few weeks I worked on different projects on my workbench. As you can see, I have a whole bunch of tractor trailers and trucks here that are all custom made and will be shortly added to my collection. So before I do that, I thought I'd maybe show them to you guys and see how the works and paint job and everything I put into these custom rigs. So without further ado, let's take a look at them. So in this lot of big rigs, I have 4 Cabovers and the rest are conventional trucks, which is 13 trucks, which is quite a lot. Most of these trucks were either day cab or they didn't have details on some of them, like this GMC Brigadier here. We're gonna start with the video. Did not have a sleeper, didn't have any of these stacks, any of these tankers. So these were all parts that I added later on. Same thing with these amazing Majorette 600 series frame with those very iconic 2-piece wheels. So most of these trucks were just basic trucks, you know, with the standard base, nothing very particular. And I also made some nice details on the paintwork, like the side markers, the headlights, the grille. I also painted the windows frame in chrome. Put some custom paint job. This one's more of a work rig, not a very showpiece truck. So it has that kind of abuse and use look to it, which is kind of cool, in my opinion. I also painted the tail lights and the rear lights, and I painted this fifth wheel because these are often chipped when played with and attached to other trailers. So for the sleeper piece here, most of these trucks I use these junk Majorette Kenworth. These trucks are very common with missing hoods and missing parts. So what I basically do is just cut the sleeper off it. I sand it with sandpaper and some lime, like these tools that I have right over here. Very useful to custom with. And I basically put one of these cab here and attach them together with super glue, and that's pretty much it. You get yourself a nice truck with a sleeper. And after that, it's just to put this truck in the frame and make it fit with the wheels. That will be the most difficult part of the job to do, but afterwards it does make a pretty convincing job, and I'm really proud of it. So this is the Brigadier. This is the first one. Second one here is this one. This one is a little bit more messed up because the putty didn't dry all that well and put some bubbles on the paint job. And this one I also have a broken frame, so I have to source and mold some different mud flaps on this truck. And also I put one single stacks because this was also common back in the day from some of these big rig. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Interesting thing about Majorette also is some of these castings have a difference on the tooling. As you can see, the Brigadier on my right here have some extra details, like this little dots on the bumper that the left one does not have. So these are little things you can take a look at when you're collecting Majorettes, which is quite cool. And I'm talking about the regular trucks. These are custom, obviously, but the regular ones also have a lot of little things that you can compare it, and we're gonna also take a look at them at the Mack truck later on the video. This is probably one of my most recent custom. This is the new Mack Granite tooling from Majorette. Normally this is only a day cab. This truck came with the container, just like this one, with the opening rear doors, but was also available as a dump truck. So I picked the container truck for doing this one. Put the sleeper of the Kenworth W900 just like this one. Put a single stack, and I think this is probably one of my favorite, to be honest. And I also like the fact that it has a separate chrome deflector and bumper. And overall, just a nice truck. I just wish we had some options, maybe to do like DCP, the wire on the back will also add a nice little touch. You know, of course, got a little bit of suspension with the wheels. So that is the Mack Granite. Let's park it right next to the other one. Let's go with these Peterbilt next. This one right here is the long gone casting from Hot Wheels, which is this truck here. You can see this is still at the original base. This was a truck I made a while back, probably one of my very first customs. Not the mostly detailed one, but I was proud of it back in the day. And of course I had those Majorette wheels, so kind of helped a bit of the situation, but it's nothing compared to this one right here, which is much more detailed. So basically what I did with this one, I just cut the entire back here, just remove this piece, because originally I didn't like this truck so much because it was not fitting straight on the frame, was just looking weird, and if you put a trail on the back, it just doesn't look right at all. So I decided just to preserve the front of the cab with the sleeper and just get rid of everything else. And same thing with these insert parts, they just look cheap and not very accurate scale for the trucks. So I cut the cab off, and I glue on the cab on the Majorette 600 series frame. This one's also from a Kenworth, but I use 3 different size of frame for each truck. You have the one with the Cabover, just like this Ford back there, length. You also have the one with the white, and you have the Kenworth one. The Kenworth was probably the most interesting and easiest to work on when you put cabs on it, and this is the case with this Peterbilt, because the long gun casting is based on the Peterbilt, I think the 359. But anyway, so this one right here, I picked up this grill from the Matchbox knockoff Peterbilt. These are sold in my Dollarama store here in Canada. They are available at very cheap cost, like 95 cents or something. Same thing for these little extra piece. I picked them on these. I picked these parts on the Yachting truck for the air cleaners and the stacks. And the frames are from Majorette Castings, the 600 series. This one I decided to paint it in a nice red paint job with white stripes. I also painted the details for the deflectors, the air horns, and the positional lights on the top, and also painted the front grille. I think this truck is probably my favorite so far, except for these Mack trucks that we're gonna come very soon to look at. This one's a simple custom. This is the originally Nova car cab, the Kenworth T600, T660, I believe. And this one was a junk frame, so I just remolded the mud flaps on the back. I put some cheaper wheels because I ran out of the 600 series wheel, but I will eventually replace them with the correct wheels. And this is more of a junkyard truck, so I didn't put a lot of effort into it, because this one's going to be sitting on my junkyard. And this truck did have a lot of problems with to begin with, so I kind of scrapped the project. So maybe another day when I have a better condition truck, I will have a more detailed custom eventually to add to my nice truck collection. Okay, now let's take a look at my W900. These ones are fairly old, probably the same around time I work on as the long gun blue in the back, but these ones are much nicer because, you know, you have the opening hood, you have all the parts here. These ones are kind of stiff, but you can see I also painted the engine back in the day. So painted the air cleaner, all the details on the top of the cab, even the tanker painted blue, and the headlights. So these are pretty cool. This one's more of a simpler stock looking, no stripes or anything. And yeah, I didn't paint the engine in this one. I think Majorette actually have a real factory release truck that is exactly like this one. It's probably the one I was looking at back in the day when I customized this truck. I don't remember which starter that came with this one, however. But anyway, let's take a look at a Cabover to change a bit. This one I'm very proud of it, but I still have a few works to do, like painting the black accent for the stripe. But this is basically a truck that was originally on the Majorette 300 series car. This is exactly the same paint job applied on this truck. The only thing's missing is a trailer that will come with in a little deflector. These are parts that we're working on later on for this truck. But this is exactly the same paint job as it was on the card. So white with red stripe, another red stripe, and blue. And the front. Painted black rail and the turn signal. These are modified stacks from Majorette casting. These ones were broken, so I just remade them. So yeah, that's this one. Another Cabover. This one was a cheapo casting. I don't remember the name of the brand that made this Scania R series truck. But when I striped it, I was pretty impressed with the details on this truck. It had a lot of nicely done mold on the casting, so I give it a shot to make a custom on this one, even though I'm not a big fan of European Cabover trucks. But I thought this one was pretty interesting, so I give it a shot. And overall, I'm pretty impressed with my work. I like it much, and I think this will be a very nice addition to my collection of trucks. And it would be nice if Majorette made the European cab one day with tandem axle, because one of the problems with Majorette trucks these days, they have only European trucks, except maybe the Western Star cab that they unfortunately discontinue. But all the European cabs that they only have one single axle in the back. So that's pretty common in Europe, but I always liked my truck better with the tandem axle. And you can put some more weight in the back of these trucks when you have tandem axle than just one single axle. But anyway, so that's this one here. Next, let's go back with the conventional truck. Let's go at this other 359 Peterbilt. This one's a Matchbox tooling, the Peterbilt truck. And again, I put the sleeper of the Kenworth in the back. It does look pretty cool. And the interesting fact about this one, it does have an interior and the driver molded into the interior. You can see in the cab, it's chrome. So painted detail again on the side, on the top of the cab. Put some chrome stacks. Also painted the breathers and the front grille. So that's another 359. Now let's go with the Mack. This one did require a lot of work just for the stripe. And for the sleeper, I took off this one from a Yatman casting. I think it was a T660. Again, I just copied the sleeper and put it on this Mack truck. Normally this is a day cab. You will normally find this truck in the Majorette casting in the cement mixer or the dump truck, but they never made a 600 series truck, so I made mine. This blue one was the third one I make. The second one being this red one, which is exactly the same tempo, not tempo but painting stripe, just a different color in red. And the first one I made, I don't know if it's okay, here we go, is this one. Now this one was not the best because it had some problem with the frame and the cab was never setting right. I think back in the day, when I made it, the fenders here were longer, so they had a problem fitting with the fuel tanks. So I have to redone it in the future to fix this problem. But also have a different paint job. Back then I painted in this was orange, but now it's more of a bronze color with black stripe. But this was probably one of my first one I made back in the day. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. Anyway, Next one, we have this. Let's go back with the Cabovers. This one is the Hot Wheels Thunder Holder casting. This is the Kenworth K100. For you guys know, this casting normally has a big sleeper in the back with a big gap here for the fuel exhaust stacks. I didn't like this gap so much, so I decided to make two different custom. Make this day cab version. So I just cut off the big sleeper and the gap of the stacks, and I just glued a little piece together, make it day cab. I didn't find some cool stacks for this one yet, but eventually I would put it on the back of this truck. And also make another version. This one does have the big sleeper, but does no longer have the big gap in between the sleeper and the driver compartment. And this one already have a little chip. That's one of the problem with Spectra Flame paint. It's quite fragile, even though if you put the clear coat underneath, you can see another chip here. That's unfortunate. And yeah, this one I made 1 or 2 years ago when I was giving a shot restoring Hot Wheels Redline. And my last truck is gonna be this Peterbilt. This one's the 359 again. This is the steering rig casting. This one I modified the stacks because they were not long enough to me, so I just put some better ones. And this one, unfortunately, I have broken headlights in the front, so I just remolded the one with some plastic sheets to make it closer of a 379. But anyway, otherwise the truck is just painted in a Spectra Flame red color, which is okay to me. Peterbilts are very often painted red, so it does work. Anyway, let's put those trucks at the front of the camera. Maybe make a little thumbnail for YouTube. So yeah, that's it. That's all my custom trucks. What do you guys think? Do you like my work? You think they're a little cool? What's your favorite truck of this lot? Let's take a quick tour of all of them. Probably not this one, because this one is just a scrap truck. But the other ones are pretty cool. Put the Scania here. Oh yeah, and this one here, that's for another video. So I will see you guys in the next one.